Hey, Diane DeWald with CreativeCrafts.com. Welcome back to the channel. And I'm going to redo this card. I had already previously recorded where I made these cards, and something happened with the video. The quality was not where I wanted it to be, so I decided to go ahead and re-record. We're going to be making this one with this beautiful red velvet foiled outlined focal point for where we're going to put the Merry Christmas. That is actually from Gina K Designs, the smallest of the tag trio, just sideways. And I'm just showing you that things in your stash, you would never know that's a tag unless I told you about it. So in addition to the die, and before I get into that, I'm going to go ahead, since we're foiling, I'm going to get Gina's fuse, and I'm going to move you out just a smidge. I didn't realize how close I had you in. But I'm going to go ahead and get this plugged in, warming up. I have a lot of things already prepped since I've done this once before. I knew everything I was going to need. Let's go ahead and get this turned on and set to setting 3. And the reason for that is we're going to use Gina K's Poly-Glaze. It's the tag trio, the die set that I just showed you. She's got packs of Poly-Glaze. I've already done a bunch of them, and I cut out somewhere, oh, here it is. I cut out one of the smallest tags, and then if you don't have the Poly-Glaze and don't want to foil, just cut out one of the regular stitched dies. We're going to use the die to cut out the foiled piece once we get it foiled and go from there. Where was I going with that? Oh, and I've already got the foil already cut out. It's her fancy foils. It is the red velvet that I'm using. And I just cut out a piece that is slightly larger than the Poly-Glaze piece that I'm foiling. When you're working with Poly-Glaze, you want to make sure you cut your foil larger so that you don't have any of the Poly-Glaze piece sticking out from your carrier sheet. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and prep. This is just a Swiffer duster. And I'm going to go on the inside of the carrier sheet. Go ahead and dust that. I'm going to dust the reverse side of the foil, and then I'm going to dust the Poly-Glaze sheet. And you want the silver or the wrong side of the foil facing your Poly-Glaze sheet. So let's go ahead and get this inside of our carrier. And I normally let this warm up a little bit more, so that's perfectly fine where it's at. I'm going to let that warm up just a little bit more and show you everything else that we're going to utilize. So I already showed you the tag trio, and this Merry Christmas came from Holiday Tapestry. It's this little Merry Christmas right here. And then we're using Master Layouts 1, the larger of the 2 rectangles, which measures, if you don't have Master Layout 1, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then the Festive Bloom. We're going to use these 3 elements here to make this beautiful holly on the front of our card. Cardstock. From Cardstock, I get my A2 size bases cut, and you can kind of see, I think you can see the score there. You could see it. You see the score line right there. I've got 2 of them because I want to show you what it looks like without the foil and then with the foil. Then the holly berries. This I die cut out of red velvet, and then we're going to take red velvet ink and ink it. Whereas this, we're just going to see what it looks like if this whole thing is red with tone on tone, red velvet on ink on red velvet cardstock. Then the last, well, not the last piece, but all of my die cuts besides the berries, it's Neenah Classic Crest Solar White. I like to use 110 pound for elements. Excuse me, just to give it a little more substance, and it's not so flimsy on the front of a card. Then this is just beautiful. I've used this on a couple cards. This is Stardream Metallic Cardstock. I also got it cut cardstock, I think, oh, if you Google it, you can find some other places that could carry it. I just get all of my Stardream from cut cardstock because they're kind of local. They're about 5 hours away over in Valparaiso, Indiana. And this color here, it's called Eris, and it's 75 pounds so that it doesn't add a lot of weight. But I've already got this cut down to that master layout largest size. So it's 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And we're going to get our embossing folder, which I just love the Tapestry embossing folder. I don't know if you can see the detail. Once you, here, you can see the detail. I just love how that looks tone on tone with a little bit of shimmer on a card. I think this looks really elegant and classy. Let's run this through. And when you're using your whatever laminating machine and you put your carrier sheet in, don't walk away. If you walk away, it's going to crinkle and then you're going to have a mess on your hands. So I always make sure that I have free space in back of it so that it can freely come out the machine and not get stuck and then crinkled on the inside. And we are done with that. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, move this out of our way. I'm going to give our camera something to focus on while I put this away. And I think that's enough time to let this cool down. It's already trying to reveal itself. I don't want it to reveal yet. And then it's just a matter of holding the, and then peeling. And look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Look at that. And there's a little bit of shine. I'm trying to get my lighting. There goes. A little bit of shine right there. I love it. Love it. And then save this. If you have the white Poly-Glaze sheets, I'm not going to demo it because I've already unplugged my fuse machine, but if you have the white Poly-Glaze sheets, you can cut this down and do reverse foiling so that your whole tag is red. Or if you're foiling something else in red that fits inside of this, you can reuse this. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside with the carrier sheet and we can get this die cut. Let me grab, I'm using just my, what is this? This is Sizzix Big Shot Express. They do not make this machine anymore. And I'm going to use just some low tack minty tape just to make sure that this stays where it's supposed to. And I'm going to get my head in the way. I'm going to pull this down. That way you don't have to see the back of my head. There, and that's what it looks like. And for the minty tape, I went ahead and used my 1/2 inch smaller. You can use whatever low tack tape you have, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't tape onto the foil. You just never know when your tape might pick that foil up. So let's go to my die cutting machine, or I will go over there and get this cut out. And here we are. Love it. So it's just a matter of pulling this up. And because that did not go over the lines of the actual die, it was easy to pull out. And there you go. There is your perfectly foiled tag. Okay, let's go ahead and let's get this Merry Christmas all stamped out. So I'm going to go ahead and put down some scrap cardstock I got there, pulled it from my stash. And we're going to just grab this Merry Christmas. And I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. It's the black ink that I have used forever. I don't care what that looks like because here's the next trick. And I'll grab some of my painter's tape, just put here on the side. I want to get this pretty straight, but I also have to remember there is some foiling. So I need to make room on this edge and make sure that's kind of straight. We'll see what we get. I think I've got it. And I'm going to test on the non-foiled piece. And I like to, in my die cuts, put some low tack tape so that if I have to stamp one of my die cuts more than once, that low tack tape holds it in place. So let's go ahead, ink up the stamp. Oh, and okay, that's okay. I got a little bit of ink there from my hand, I believe, but that's okay because this is going to get covered up. Just a lesson learned. Keep your awareness of where your hands are and if you have ink on any of your fingers. So let's go ahead and look. Is that going to be, yep, that's perfectly good. I'm looking at where this line is compared to where it would be down here, and that Merry Christmas does not cover it up. So let's go ahead and do the second tag. My outline is 110, and this is layering weight cardstock. And bingo, that's perfectly placed. I love it. So we are done with the black ink. Let's go ahead and pull this out of there. We're not yet done with our Misty. I want to go ahead and clean this off. Put that Merry Christmas away. And let's go ahead and get our Festive Bloom and our pieces. So we're done with this. And you can reuse these die cuts, so you can slide them in with whatever storage pockets you've got. And I'm trying to find mine that has the tag trio. And you can just slide it in. And that way when you need a template, you don't have to waste more cardstock. So let's go ahead and get out our holly leaves. And the holly berry. And I need a larger piece of cardstock. This is just a piece of A2 size cardstock. And let's get our leaves and that. Okay, and we're just going to do the whole thing in Spruce, even though This is medium spruce, even though those berries are going to be red in the end. And I'm going to go ahead and clean this off. And I've already got all of these prepped. And let's go ahead and get those out of the way. And we're just going to tape all of these outlines down so that we can come back and do our die cuts and get them stamped. We're going to do the berries first because I'm not 100% sure that red on red is going to work, but we're going to give it a try. There. That stuck over too much on that one side. So let's go ahead and, as soon as there, couldn't get that excess tape off of my finger. So we're going to slide that in there. And this is all red velvet. It's red velvet cardstock and red velvet ink. Let's see what we get. Because I honestly don't know how this is going to look. I don't know. We'll see what happens. And you know, while I have it here, oops, let's go ahead and pull that up. Let's do this other one. I'm going to go quickly cut 2 white pieces and just do those as well. Just to have them in case I don't like this look. Okay, I've got my 2 white die cuts, so let's go ahead and get those inked up just in case, because you know, I have an idea in my head, and sometimes the idea in my head does not come out to, in practice, what I've theorized. So we are done with that red velvet. So I'm going to get that put aside. And because this is red, I'm going to use Gina's stamp cleaner. It really reduces the staining. I know the red velvet, it turned it a little yellow. And I know the cherry red really stains it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the holly berries. And we're going to go ahead and let's get our holly branches or leaves done. So let's pop a couple of these in here. And the way these leaves, there's 2 different leaves and they have different curvatures. And the leaf that is this direction, I've done 2, whereas the other direction I've done 4, just to get this look. And if it's on the other side, you may have to swap it. So just pay attention to the curvature of the leaf and how you want it to appear on the front of your card as to how many leaves of each direction you're going to want to do. So I'm going to do medium spruce on both of these. And I'm going to do 2 stamping of each. And here's the fun part. I'm going to take the dark spruce and I'm just kissing the edge. See how I've kissed just the edge? And I'm doing this to add a little bit of dimension to these leaves. So I think you can see that. See how it just adds a little bit of dimension on the edge? And then I'm just going to wipe this down because I don't want to contaminate my medium with the dark. There's no water on that. It's just a dry microfiber cloth. And we're going to rinse and repeat. So see how I've got two directions there? This will be the last one for that direction, and I'll repeat this one 2 more times. And that is the end of our leaves. And I think the last thing we have to do prep-wise for this particular card is embossing the background. So I've got Gina's Intricate. Couldn't remember what it's called. I'm going to move all of this out of the way just to get it out of the way and see if I can move you out just a smidge more without blinding you with my overhead lights. So let me go ahead and move this off. So according to, I spelled Jennifer's name. So Jennifer McGuire did this Intricate recommended dial settings. I don't know if I can find a link to this, but I will do my best. And for regular 2D embossing, you need both the platform and the cutting mat, and put it at letterpress 2D emboss and 0 to start with. And I needed to loosen my machine up a little bit, so I am at 2D on the top dial, and then I am actually at 1 looser on the bottom dial. Every machine is different, so your machine may be different than this. But we're going to go ahead and got the cutting mat and the Tapestry folder, and all embossing folders have a bumpy side and then a smooth side, where when you put the cardstock in, the bumpy side pushes the cardstock up. I get in the habit of putting labels at the top, and I always put it to where the bumpy side is on the bottom so that the dimension is going to be pushed up towards the label. So I always know when I pull my my embossing folder out along with my cardstock, if I can see this, I know the dimension is going to be pushed towards me. And I'm just going to get this kind of semi-straight in the folder. I'm going to lay it down a little bit at an angle on the cutting mat, and I'm going to take the platform and just put right on the top. Take this whole thing, slide it off my table so that I can hold on to it so I know nothing is shifted, and then start feeding it through my Intricate. And if my table is shaking, I do apologize. And there you go. So let's reveal this bad boy. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that shine. Look at that dimension. I just love this. So let's go ahead and let's do it again. So I'm going to try to find a space on here. I want the the cardstock to be even, because if it's a little crooked inside the folder, this pattern's going to look a little crooked. And then I place this kind of at an angle so that it doesn't, the top of the folder doesn't hit the rollers at the same spot. It just makes it easier to roll through. And then slide it off, pick it up, and feed it in. Let the machine grab it. And roll through. I'm going to get this little guy out of the way. And let's do one more reveal. I just love this embossing folder. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. So everybody, we are now at a point where we can assemble this card, or cards, since we're getting two of these together. So let me grab my, I call it a bone folder, even though it's not bone. It's a plastic material. I'm just going to burnish the crease, and you want to make sure that the bump is what you're sandwiching together. It has to do with how the cardstock fibers are stretched when you score it. If you're getting a lot of cracking on your cardstock, it could be that you're folding it the wrong way. So just take a look at that. So each of these, before I deal with those and this, let's move everything over to one side. Let me grab, I am going to use Altenews 1 inch, 1/16 inch thickness foam tape. Easy peasy. We're just going to and I flip this over to make sure that I'm putting it on the correct side. And quickly cut this down. I don't want it too close to the edge, but I want it to give it enough support since it's a whole huge panel. And there we go. And I'm going to do the same thing with this. I want to make sure the dimensions down for when I'm putting the foam tape on. Make sure I don't cut my finger or the cardstock. That would be bad. I don't need to go to the emergency room for slicing my finger. There we are. We're going to use this again here in a minute, so I'm just going to set it real close to the side here. And we're going to go ahead and get these two panels onto, grab my little Meyer bucket. I love this. It's a cute little bucket. I was walking through Meyer last week picking up groceries and just saw it. Okay, I'm not going to put any glue, so this tape is super sticky. I'm going to use my camera up above. I got a little off center, but that's okay. Maybe the next one I'll do a better job. I know a lot of other crafters will put liquid glue, so they've got a little bit of leeway. And if I pay attention overhead, let's get this right smack in the middle. And I'm going to look at upper right, lower left. Okay, that's better. That's much better. Okay. Then for our tags, I'm going to go ahead, and you're going to think me nuts. I'm going to grab some liquid glue. And I'm just going to put some liquid glue here in the center. I want a little more support for this, and I want to have it stick out a little bit further, not too much further. And I'm just going to cut it down to about there. I want to give these holly leaves and berries a little more purchase over here, and I'm going to snip the edges just in case, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. The cardstock, this is a 110-pound cardstock, and I cut it at 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to lay it here inside the stitching, and I want it straight and centered. So there we are. And do the same thing with this. Just cut it off maybe about 1/2 inch. And these angles, I'm basically mimicking the angles of the tag. We are done with the glue. Let's go ahead and get these out of the way. And I just saw glitter all over my floor. So let's go ahead and flip these over again, and let's grab that foam tape. Get that foam tape down. We're not going to put those on the front yet. And then I'm going to grab Gina's tape runner. And we've got 2 and 1. And then we have 2 and 1. And I'm going to cut the stem off of the 3rd leaf that's sticking out to the left, just to make it easier. And let's go ahead and get this. Let's get all the leaves on first. And I'm just going to put a bunch of tape down here at the bottom. Like that. And then like that. And then this guy, right in there like that. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? And we'll repeat on this tag here. Oh, I did not. Oh, that's going to get covered up. So I panicked for a minute. So there's the hole for the tag. This little guy. Where's my other? Oh. You know, I think I like the stamped one versus the stamped on white versus stamped on red. I think it looks better. Yeah, I like the stamped like that. So let's go ahead and get this tag done. We're going to do the same thing. Make sure you're covering that over here. And same thing here. That little hole there from the tag, it's going to get covered by the berry. Just like that. Here's my berries. And do I want to pop that up, or do I want it down? Nope, we're just going to tape it down. Make sure I cover that hole. Just like that. Oh, I like it. This is really pretty. Oops, and I just ran out of tape. So if you've never, so the first time I replaced the tape in one of these tape runners, I did not realize this thing was hinged. So there's a little thing that says push, and it hinges up here, and you just pull it out, and you put the new one in, let it drop in, and then you close it. I had this whole thing apart the first time I went. Oops, got tape on the wrong side. There we go, rub it off. But yeah, I had tape everywhere the first time I replaced one of these. It was quite funny when I figured it out. Now, this is the fun part. This is so easy using this foam tape. And I'm going to do one more thing that I didn't do on this other one. I'm going to stick some small ones to support these leaves. I did not do that with my original cards. And then we can't get that tag right there in the middle because I want this to fit in an envelope. So it's going to be a little off, but not terrible. Before I press, I wanted to make sure I got everything even. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. We're just going to put a couple of support dimensions right here to the side. Pull this backing off the 1-inch tab. And let's see what we got here. Okay, before I press down permanently, I think that's pretty straight. So this is what it looks like. And let me get you in just a smidge closer. But this is what it looks like with foil outline versus not. Not terrible. This just adds a little more dimension. And if you have a steady hand, you could draw a line around that. I don't, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But that's how this card came together. And I wish I had been able to salvage my original recording, but this one went a whole lot smoother. Thanks a lot for joining me today. I'll have everything that I utilized in today's video linked down below. While you're down there perusing that list, if you're new to the channel, welcome, first of all. And if you've enjoyed the content, if you would hit that subscribe button and then click the notification bell so that you're notified the next time I upload a video. Also, while you're down there, if you would hit that like button, it really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Hey, I can say that word now. It took me a really long time. So again, thanks for joining me. Until next time, happy stamping.